I used to be a terrible mentor in my healthcare clinic, and I'm going to tell you all about it in this video. But before we do get into this one, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us to reach more people and to create a bigger impact, my friends. All right, thank you so much for doing that one. We're going to deep dive into this one today. And what we're going to be going through is a bit of my journey as a mentor, okay, and some of the challenges that I faced. And you may be facing these challenges too. So do watch along, take some notes if you may. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I was able to change it. And I am far from perfect, by the way. This is still a work in progress. It always is, and it always will be, okay? And we've also created this program called Mentor Mastery as a part of Clinic Mastery, where we help leaders within teams to become fantastic mentors. So we already do that with the clinic owners, but this is aimed at the leaders within the team, okay? So let's get stuck into my story, okay? Because when I started my journey as a healthcare business owner, it was very early in my career. And when I started to employ people, I was only 26, 27 years old. Okay, so very, very young. And a lot of the people that I employed were actually better than me. And coming back, I remember I was on a podcast, it was a while ago, a little tangent here. I was on a podcast and someone asked me, Pete, why are you a business owner, a physiotherapy business owner? Do you think you're the best physiotherapist out there? And I remember responding with, well, no, I'm not the best physio, but I also don't think I need to be the best physio because my role as the business owner is to bring together the best people, kind of like the Avengers, right? In Marvel, bringing together a group of heroes. So bringing together a group of allied health heroes to make a difference in people's lives. And so I didn't need to be the best. However, I needed to be able to mentor them. Okay, I needed to be able to help them grow because being a leader and a mentor isn't about having all of the answers. It's about helping your team to become the best versions of themselves and getting the most out of them. Okay, so that flipping mindset, it took me a while to get there. So early on in my journey as a mentor, you can probably pick it by now. The thing that I struggled with was that I tried to have all of the answers all of the time. And I felt like if I didn't have the answer, that I wasn't being a good leader and that people wouldn't respect me. They wouldn't look up to me and be like, oh, that's someone I want to lead. That's someone I want to work with. But what I found was when I tried to have the answers all the time, I came across as egotistical, as defensive, as not wanting to be wrong. And that wasn't healthy. And that didn't make people respect me. That did the complete opposite. Okay. And I remember having imposter syndrome. I remember feeling anxious going into mentoring sessions when someone asked a question because I always felt like I had to have all the answers. And if you always feel like you have to have all of the answers, it's going to be very stressful, my friend. Okay. So if we flip this and look at, well, what did we do? What did we change? There were a few different mentors I had who helped me with this. But today we're going to talk about one book in particular, and it's called The Coaching Habit by Michael Bungay. And he asks 7 questions in there because there's 7 coaching questions. I'm going to read them to you now. I'm going to go into them a little bit each, okay? The first one, what is on your mind? What's on your mind? It opens up the conversation. What is on this person's mind? All right, it's a very open-ended question to start with, rather than saying, tell me about this, open-ended to start with. And then I love this one, and what else? Okay, so they may respond with, oh, this is on my mind. Okay, and what else? I see, and what else? And whilst it may sound silly while I'm doing this to myself, okay, I understand it sounds very silly, but it helps to get more and more out of them. Because often people, they give you the surface level thing first. And when you say, and what else? And you dig a bit deeper and you dig a bit deeper, you get so much more coming out of it. Okay. And what you'll notice here is that I'm not trying to give answers. I'm just trying to get information. I'm trying to get them talking, getting them doing the thinking. Okay. Because often the person in front of you, they can get the answer. They may already have the answer. And it's our role to help them to build that confidence, to show them that they can do this themselves. And maybe with a little bit of guidance and a little bit of hand holding, we can get them there. The next one, what is the real challenge for you? Because often, and if you've mentored people before, you'll know you get into a session and someone says, this is the problem. Okay, I don't have enough clients, right? What do you think the real challenge here is? Because It's not just the symptom typically. It's normally the deeper issue here. And they may be aware, they may also not be aware. They may say, well, I'm not getting enough new clients, which is why I don't have enough clients on my list. I'm not busy enough. We may look at it from a health business owner perspective and with experience on our side and be able to see their cancellations are too high, their rebooking isn't very high. We may see these sorts of things. And so we can help them to understand. We might go through their numbers and help them to understand, well, if your cancellations are 18% at the moment and the clinic average is 9%, how do you think that this contributes to the client list? And go through and talk through the leaky bucket and how it's not just about getting more new clients through the top. We have to make sure that people that come in are getting an amazing experience, because what happens when people get an amazing experience? Well, they stay longer, right? They achieve their goals. What happens when people achieve their goals with you? They refer in their friends and family, and you can see how this builds a client list, right? But we're saying, what is the real challenge here? And we're helping them to identify that. Then we can ask, what do you want? What do you want out of this session today? What is your outcome? What do you want to achieve? It helps to set the expectation. We can understand this is what they want to achieve. If we nail this, we've nailed today's session. Fantastic. Okay, so you don't have to always be thinking about giving more value, having more answers. You understand what they want and what they need right now. The next one, how can I help? Okay, so you don't need to jump in straight away with answers and try this, or have you done this, or I had that same problem at one stage and I did this and this worked for me. All right, just cool it a little bit, because your advice is most useful to you given the context. So asking the question, how can I help? It allows them to actually think, how can you help them? And rather than you having to do the thinking, you having to do the mental legwork here, it allows them to come up with that solution for you. Okay. And then they clearly articulate how you can help them. Or if they don't know how you can help, that's where you can start to give them some ideas of ways that you might be able to help. The next question is, if you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? Helping them to manage their workload, making sure that we're not burning people out, but we are getting the most out of people. Okay, if you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? And finally, at the end of the session, what was most useful for you today? And how are you going to implement that? So a reflection question at the end is super useful. It gets them to reflect on, well, what have I learned today? What was most useful, right? And how am I then going to implement it tangibly? And sometimes even going further, and when will you implement it? Not just how, but when. When is this going to happen? And this helps you too as the mentor, because you start to understand what someone finds useful, what someone finds really valuable sitting in front of you. So you should be taking your own notes here too, because you'll get a bit of a gauge on, how do I add the most value to this person in front of me? And you'll find that throughout that whole process, you're giving a lot less. You're giving a lot less answers, advice, everything. And you're asking more questions. You're asking better questions, and you're allowing them to dive deep into their brain, to do that mental legwork, to do the effort, and to find those answers. And you're only giving them assistance and help when they need it. And to me, that was game changing. That allowed me to go from a mentor where it was all about me and it was all about trying to have all of the answers, because that made me worthy as a leader, worthy as a mentor, to putting them on the pedestal and saying, hey, you can do this. I believe in you, and I'm here to help you get the best out of yourself. I'm here to help you learn. And we're on a learning journey together. And guess what? I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. But together, we're going to find the answers. So, my friends, I hope this helped. I hope if you're going through your own mentoring journey or your own leadership journey, and maybe you're where I was, you still feel that imposter syndrome. You still feel like you have to have all of the answers. And maybe get a bit of anxiety around this going into those sessions or into your clinic or into work, whatever it may be. But I hope this helps to reframe that for you. And please do go check out that book, The Coaching Habit. Trust me, she's an absolute doozy. You'll love it. And as always, my friends, have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.